NATO is stepping up its defences. Last month, British soldiers were among over 30,000 NATO troops training here in Poland to counter what the alliance sees as Russian aggression. NATO leaders at their summit are unsettled by Britain's decision to leave their partner organisation, the European Union. President Obama, meeting EU leaders, called it a critical moment.
The vote in the United Kingdom to leave the EU has created uncertainty about the future of European integration. And unfortunately, this has led some to suggest that the entire edifice of European security and prosperity is crumbling.
So David Cameron is mounting Operation Reassurance, telling me Britain's allies have nothing to fear.
Britain may be leaving the European Union, but we're not turning our back on Europe, and we're not turning our back on European defence and security. Britain is the second largest contributor to NATO in terms of our defence spending.
And Britain is backing words with extra troops as NATO sends 4 multinational battalions to the vulnerable Baltic states and to Poland. Britain will contribute 500 troops in Estonia and 150 in Poland. The message to Russia: the alliance will defend its eastern borders. There's no question David Cameron really does need to bolster, to reinforce Britain's position within NATO. After all, at the height of the EU referendum campaign, 5 former NATO Secretary-Generals said this in very stark terms. Brexit would undoubtedly lead to a loss of British influence, undermine NATO and give succour to the West's enemies. Downing Street hailed that statement at the time. It sounds a lot less helpful now. Russia stands to gain from any weakness in the West as it too steps up military training, accusing NATO of being the aggressor.
If one party deploys certain potentials, the other party will deploy certain potentials. And this is the beginning of the arms race. Again, this is not our choice.
So these are anxious times. Tonight, a working dinner for the NATO leaders, focused discussion on Russia. The Polish hosts very pointedly chose the same room where in 1955 their Soviet masters from Moscow signed the Warsaw Pact. It established the Cold War military alliance behind the Iron Curtain which confronted NATO for so long. Reconciliation with President Putin's Russia does not look close at hand. James Robbins, BBC News, Warsaw.